everyone, welcome to Gardening TLC. My name is Michelle and I live in Northern Illinois, Zone 5. We are going to head outside in just a little bit because we have some gardening chores that we need to get done. Now, I am going to be pruning up some boxwoods today. It's a little late in the season, but I have a window of about 15 days with no frost. So I'm going to get that chore knocked out because I didn't get it done. I'm also going to be deconstructing some of my pots, and I'll show you how to overwinter geraniums, Rex begonias, and some of the Dracaena spikes. So come along today with me while we get all of these chores knocked out. Look, I got a box in the mail. This is so exciting. So our video today is sponsored by SteeliteTools. Now, we have already highlighted one of their pieces of equipment. We did a video about their blower when we built the compost bins. Love that blower. What do you think's in this box? Well, let's see. We're pruning boxwoods today. You think maybe it's a hedge clipper? I don't know. Let's open it up and check it out. Oh, look at this, you guys. One. There it is. Oh, and look. Two. Guess what two means? Two means I'm going to be giving one of these little bad boys away. All right, so all you have to do is leave a comment below the video, and we will be doing a random drawing on Monday for one of these beauties, and you will win it. All right, let's get this bad boy opened up and see what's in it. All right, got an instructional manual, a battery charger. This is probably the battery. Yep, here's the battery. Here is the actual trimmers. Now this you would use for like grass trimming. That's what this attachment's for. Well, there's another attachment and it's got a cover on it. This would be your blade for doing the hedge trimming. So it's not a very long blade, but that's okay. You don't have to have a crazy long blade to do trimming. Typically when you have a long blade, it's because you got to reach a long distance. So none of my stuff is very big. So this will be perfect. All right, and then it looks like I have a backup battery. So there is a second battery in here. I love that they come with two batteries. And then, oh, I think this is the cover that goes on this. It just fell off. So it gives it this, this protective cover right here just goes on those blades for storage. We got the charger and the battery. They just slide together just like that. You plug it in, you charge the battery. Pretty easy. All right, so this is the actual hedge clippers themselves. And this one here is for the grass clippings. And when I want to take this off, there's two tabs right here. And I just squeeze those together and pull it straight off just like that. And there's a little peg right there. And then I'm going to take the hedge clippers and I'm going to put those on instead. So now I'm just going to put that in place, squeeze the little ends again, and snap it in place. Yeah, that was actually pretty easy. All right, so now I've got that attachment on there instead. All right, the battery is right here, and I just slide that battery. See, there's little tongs right there, and this just matches right up. So I just slide it right down inside the channel. It locks in place. When I want to release it, I just push the button to pull it back out. I love that their tools are so easy to use. And even though they sent me this book, I don't need the book. All right, then I'm going to take my protective cover off and let's see. Check it out. Let's go prune some boxwoods. Now, if you are interested in getting one of your own little hedge clippers like this that's battery operated with both the grass shear attachment and the hedge clipper attachment, I have put a link down below and you can go check that out yourself. Thank you, Steelite, for sponsoring our video today. We're going to go check out your tools. I think it's going to be pretty awesome. All right, let's go. I'm going to start with these boxwoods right here. These are the Sprinter boxwoods from Proven Winners. I'm not in love with these boxwoods. I don't think that they grow in the nice, pretty round shape like my winter gems do, but maybe if we help them along and give them a little haircut in a round little ball, they'll have a better shape next year. Now, I am taking a little bit of a risk by pruning my boxwoods this late in the season, but it's my risk to take. So I'm not advocating that you run out and prune all your boxwoods. One, I have a 15-day window with no frost. But if they don't harden off in time or I get a surprise frost, I could have some damage on the tips of my boxwoods going into next year. You really want to prune boxwoods when the temperatures are below 85 and when all danger of frost is over. So typically I should have done this like 6 weeks ago, didn't get it done, gonna do it now, and I'm gonna take the risk. I'm not doing a hard prune, I'm doing a little bitty shearing on these to give them a little bit of shape. Now, when you prune boxwoods, you really only want to take off the new growth or no more than like just the top part of it. When you prune, it's actually easier to shape them if you take your pruners and you go up and over versus down and around. The other thing that I do is because when you're pruning boxwoods, they do make a mess. So I go get a tarp like this. This is just a painter's tarp. And then what I did was I cut a slit in it. I'm gonna take this slit and work it around my boxwoods. I like to use this better than a tarp because I feel like, one, it's a little bit heavier, and two, I feel like I can control it better when I pull it away from the boxwood, and then I take it and I just drop everything into my pop-up bag. All right, so let's get this in place, and then we're gonna prune a boxwood. Let's do this. Now, one of the things I do like about these hedge clippers is there is kind of a safety built in to where I have to turn this on and hold this the same time that I hold the trigger to make them work. All right, so let's prune. I'm gonna start and I'm gonna work from the bottom up and around, and you'll kind of see how I'm doing this. They're very lightweight. I don't know that they're as sharp as like the gas-powered ones that I use. You probably have to go a little bit slower and do it in layers, but they cut pretty good. I don't have anything major that I'm cutting, so they work good enough for a boxwood. All right, let's do some more. All right, I trimmed all 5 of these, and in the end, I got them in this nice little ball shape. All the little scraggly branches that were there are gone. Now, when you're pruning boxwoods, these are great to prune into topiaries, hedges, little round balls if you want. So boxwoods are pretty versatile. I want mine to be little round balls. So that's how I pruned them. All right, so there you go. 1 set of hedge clippers and 1 set of boxwoods all pruned up. Now these guys are certainly no match for a pair of gas-powered hedge clippers, but they aren't expected to be. They are battery operated and they're small. But if you've got something you want to do really fast in a pinch, these are going to be great. Now I am going to take this attachment off, and I am going to put this back on there just for safety as I pull this off. And again, I just pinch the 2 ports right there and I pull it straight off. And I want to see what this little grass clipper thing will do. So I thought I would try to prune some of my daylilies with it, because for me, daylilies are always ugly when they're done blooming. And if I'm going to keep them in my garden, one of the things I do is I cut them back so that they grow back like this and they look good the rest of the season. So they wouldn't look like this if I didn't cut them back. So I thought I'd try these little grass clippers and see how they do on these daylilies. Let's take a look. Oh my, I definitely liked that. That was way quicker than cutting them with my Felcos. Then I can just take a rake and rake them up. Yeah, I will be using these to cut back maybe those mid-season perennials that I need to give the haircut to or cut back to the ground so that they'll rebloom. Loving this feature on here. Thank you, Steelite, for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget, you can win one of the Steelite hedge clippers with the grass clipper attachment by leaving a comment below. I'll pick the winner on Monday. I will notify you through the comments on this video. So if you won, I'll let you know in this video underneath your comment. So there you go, basic boxwood trimming. It's not hard. I know the first time I did it, I was like a little freaked out and a little afraid to do it. I thought that I would ruin my boxwood. The biggest rule of thumb is remember your dates. Don't do it when you're gonna have a hard frost come, or make sure that there's plenty of time for them to harden off. Don't do it when it's above 85 degrees because you could scorch your tips if that hot sun is on them. And don't cut any further than into the new wood because you could put big holes in your boxwood. Now, if you get it all lopsided the first time you do it, don't freak out. It will grow back and you can try again next year or later in the season. All right, so that's all I've got for boxwoods. Let's move on to deconstructing some pots. This begonia has been one of my favorite plants this summer. Now we're going to take it out of this window box, which isn't very big, and we're going to pot it up in what's called an azalea pot. This is a terracotta pot. It is 10 inches across, and I did put a little paper towel down here because see, that hole is pretty big and I don't want to lose all my dirt. And then I do have a saucer to put it in. Now when I bring it in the house, begonias want bright light, but they want indirect light. They don't want to sit like in a window or next to a register vent or up by a cold window pane. So indirect light is the best. So any room that's really well lit does well. They want temperatures between 65 and 75 degrees. If I get behind here, you can see how big the stalks on this got. I started with a 1 quart plant, put it in this window box. It did a lot of growing for the size of the pot that it was in, but just like most house plants, it doesn't want to go from this size into like a ginormous size. So I'm going to go from this to the 10 inch and then next year go into an even bigger pot. When we water this, we want to be careful that we don't overwater it. Begonias don't need a lot of water. I do want the top 1 inch to dry between waterings. I want to make sure that it's not sitting in wet soil. That's the other reason why I like terracotta pots, because they will help wick some of the moisture out from the soil. In the winter, as far as fertilization goes, less is more. I will only be fertilizing this once a month, and then I probably will use half-strength fertilizer. I only want to prune it if I have like leaves that are dying back. Then I'll just pinch those off. And if I feel like I'm getting any insects or diseases, I will treat it with a copper fungicide. But you know what? It's pretty healthy now. Everything I'm bringing inside is healthy, so it should stay healthy. The other thing is I will be running a humidifier in my room that I keep my plants. They like a little bit more humidity. Now, one of the things that I could do is I could fill this tray up here with rocks, set the pot on here, and just put enough water in here that it creates humidity around my plant, but I don't want the plant to suck up the water so you don't like overflow it with water. I find that that's a little bit harder to control, so I like to run the humidifier. For me, that just seems to be easier. Now, as far as toxicity goes, these guys are fine with both pets and kids. I mean, they would have to eat an enormous amount of this plant to get sick. I'm going to use my handy dandy trowel with the long nose and the serrated edge to kind of dig it out, and then I'm going to get it repotted. I am going to be disassembling my pot with the Dracaena spike. I started this baby in a little, we're talking 3-inch pot. It was really small when I started. And from fertilizing it all season long and letting it grow in this pot, it's done absolutely fabulous. Normally, I'm throwing these away at the end of the year, but I went on a garden tour and I had some people that were actually overwintering them in their garage, and that's what I'm going to try. I thought about putting one in my office too and trying one inside, one outside, but I'm kind of like, my office is getting pretty full. I don't know that I can put another big plant in there. Plus, I'll probably poke my eyeball out if I put that in there. So I'm just going to take everything out of the pot, clean off the top part of the soil and put fresh soil down, just in case there's any larvae in the soil. And then I'm going to push them in the garage, and they're going to sit there all winter, and they will either live or die. Now, I do not have a heated garage. I do park my car in the garage, so the door will be going up and down every time I go in and out of the garage. But for the most part, they're just going to be cozied up in there. All right, let's get it done. Now, all of this dirt here that I've evacuated out of the pot, I'll probably just take this and dump it in my compost bin out there. I have another one just like this that I want to do. And then I have 3 others, but they have geraniums in the pot. And I'm going to show you how to pull the geraniums out and 2 different ways that you can overwinter your geraniums. We have our pot with the cordyline. See, it looks like a spike. I'm going to just overwinter this in this pot in the garage, just like I did the dracaenas. Now in here, I have the Surefire white begonias. I'm not overwintering those. Oh, they're not even dead yet, but I want to get this done. All right, I also have a bacopa in here. This is why you keep your tags. It was the Snowstorm Giant Snowflake. Wasn't overly impressed with that. It didn't really have a lot of flowers on it. I don't know that I'll plant it again. And then, all right. Then the last thing I have in here is I have this coral bell in here. Now this coral bell is, I kept the tag, it's a grape expectation. And we are going to take it out of here, and we're going to go plant it behind the new wall in that area over there on the north side of the house. So what I want to do is I want to get as much of the root ball out as I can. I'm going to take my little, trowel here and cut out the roots. All right. I'm just going to put it right in here because I have another pot just like this. I want to get the other one out, and then we'll go plant both of them over there. And probably what I'll do is I'll cut it back for the season and then just get the roots in the ground, mulch up really good around it, and water it in. I have another Dracaena spike. I like Dracaena spikes. They're really good drama in your pots. They grow a lot during the summer, and they're cheap. You can buy them for like $3 or $4, and look at how big they get. Now I tied this one up because I want to show you what I'm doing with the geraniums, which is the real thing that I want out of this pot. Now the geraniums were pretty happy in here, and they're pretty root bound. This isn't a very big pot. I want to say this is a 10-inch pot when it's all said and done. So what I'm going to do is set it down on the ground and lift the whole thing out of the pot so that I can get the geraniums out. I don't want to just yank on the geraniums because they'll snap off. And you've got to be able to get some of the root system for this to work. All right, let me get it out of the pot. I know I've done a good job when I'm doing smaller pots, feeding them and keeping them healthy, when I can pull the whole thing out and there's nothing left in the pot, because the root system on this thing is fabulous. All right, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to actually cut back the geranium so I can see what I'm working with. I don't want the top growth. I don't want the flowers. Eventually, those will all just dry up and fall off anyways. And my goal is to have the least amount of moisture possible while I'm storing these, because if you have a lot of moisture, they'll rot. So I'm going to go in with my Felcos and I'm going to trim these bad boys up. Now that I can see what I'm working with, I'm going to go through and I'm going to take my little trowel here and I'm going to cut out this section, and then I'm going to knock off as much dirt as I can. Let me get the camera a little bit closer so you can see what I'm doing. Ah, got it. Shake off as much dirt as you can. And then you're looking for all healthy green tips on here. So see how that's green and that's green. You're looking for any areas that might have broken off and scarred. You want to make sure you cut down until you get to green. I can pinch these leaves off, but they will eventually just fall off. All right, so that's what I'm looking for. I've got nice healthy roots, nice healthy stock. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it upside down and I'm going to put it in a bag. Now, some people store them in a box upside down. I find that being able to put them in the bag where they're kind of hanging a little bit seems to work a little bit better. So let's get the other ones that are in this pot and do the exact same thing. When we store in the basement, we want that to be between 40 and 60 degrees. We also want to inspect them just like you would any other plant that you're bringing inside for bugs. Now, the other way you can do it is in a cool greenhouse, like a cold frame. And that's what I'm going to do with another set of them, because for me, this is an experiment. So I'm going to take them next door. I'm going to put them in the greenhouse that we have that we don't heat. And I'm going to transfer them over into 3-inch pots. So basically what I do is I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to dig one up. Let me get it. I am going to cut off the top because I don't need those leaves. I want it to go dormant. I definitely don't want it producing flowers. And if there's any leaves left, that's okay because those will just dry up and fall off. I am looking for fresh green growth, making sure it all looks healthy. And again, I'm going to take off some of this, take it down to as much bare root as I can. All right. And I get it like this just to make sure that the roots look healthy and everything is looking good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pot it up in a little 3-inch pot. Here is my little 3-inch pot. I'm going to put it right in here, top it off with some soil, give it a little bit of water, and then I'll never water it again. It'll sit in the greenhouse until I'm ready to warm it up and get it growing again next year. So there it is, all ready to go. And I'll do up a bunch of these and take them over to the greenhouse. This way I can try it both ways and see which way I like the best. I like everything about it because it's kind of a do it and forget about it. We like that kind of gardening sometimes. I should show you guys the mess I made. Yeah, I'll have to clean that all up. All right, so that's every plant that I'm going to bring inside for the winter. I know there's other plants out there, and if you want to know more about maybe how to handle some of the tropicals, Marianne Wilbur has an absolutely excellent book right here. I actually bought myself one because I want to up my game and learn more about tropicals so I can grow more of them and then overwinter them and just love more things. I just love to grow things. All right, don't forget, if you want in on this and you want to try and win one, leave your comment down below. Thank you, Steelite, for sponsoring today's video. If you'd like to get yourself a pair of hedge clippers, make sure you check out the link down below. That's all I've got for today. Garden Gab is tomorrow, so we'll see you tomorrow morning. And we are going to get in the garden today and get some more cleanup done. So I'm Michelle. I hope you get in your garden today. I hope it gets a little TLC. This time of year, all of our gardens need a little bit of that. But don't forget to give yourself some love too. So I'm Michelle, and we'll catch you in the next video. Bye, everybody.